Hello and welcome to another episode of the Royals Review podcast. I'm your host, Dan Worth, joined as ever by Rami Abusetta. This week, we're here to talk about Reading's miserable performance away at Leyton Orient. The winless run, should I say, against the O's continues. We've still not won there since 1993. I'm really going to struggle to be positive here, but seeing you, Rami, makes me happy. What are you going to say to me to cheer me up?
Well, at least we're still on the top half of the table. I think that's the positive to take away.
Yeah, that is a positive, and I suppose we're still not a million points off the playoffs and where we want to be. But the game generally was really poor. I thought Reading just struggled from start to finish, and bar a lovely passage of play for the goal, we were second best for like all of it, literally all of it. Yeah, quite a lot to talk through, I think. And as I say, not much of it too positive. But I've seen that you've posted a few tactical tweets. So I guess my first question is, where do you think Reading lost the game? And kind of talk through the tweet you did with the gaps in midfield.
Yeah, well, I think they lost the game all over the pitch. It wasn't just the midfield. The defence was not there. The midfield was not there. I think the forwards were there, but they just weren't getting the service they needed, really. And Pereira had a shocking game. Some of the stuff he did, I did not understand. But I think at one point there was a ball going out of the back line going for a corner. He ran, palmed it in, slipped, and then the O's were nearly like on goal. So if it wasn't for Dorset kind of jumping in, it was just all over the pitch. I don't know what happened in that 13-day break. They just weren't on it. They weren't the team that played against Stockport. They weren't the team that played against Burton and beat them easily. So I don't really understand what happened, especially with Leyton being, so far down the table compared to Reading. You'd have expected them to performance, and they did, and they weren't there. Lewis Wing wasn't there. Charlie Savage wasn't there. Dorset, Eodom, Paulie O'Connor, Burns, none of them showed up. So I'm not really sure what happened, if it's psychological, if it's just what happened to the tactics, they just threw them out the window. I'm not really sure. To be honest with you, it's just all of it put together was just a mismatch, and I don't think anything Richardson would have changed or said would have changed the outcome of the game, really.
Yeah. I feel kind of weird about the break because I think this is the third time in relatively recent times where Reading have had a break, i.e. haven't played back-to-back games. And every time we've come back and just looked poor. Like we just didn't look at it today. And I'm thinking like, surely you're using that break to build fitness, to talk through tactics. And we were just completely devoid of all of that on Saturday. I don't think there was a cohesive game plan at all, and Leyton Orient exploited that, and we were there for the taking. Really, I don't think we put up much fight at all. I wanted to pick up on your point on Lewis Wing because bless the man, so much of Reading's success lies on his shoulders. But this game again goes to show to me, if he's not at his best, then Reading are a poor side. Like he wasn't great in defence. I don't even know if he had a shot. There were a couple of
he didn't have any shots on target or anything.
So they completely marked him out of the game, and it's not the first time we've seen this happen. More so last season, that when they put two on him, really impacts Reading's performance. That was his worst rated performance this season via WhoScored.com, and actually his third worst rating. Is that right? Third lowest rating in his Reading career. Which just goes to show how well Leyton Orient nullified him. And I think he was frustrated too, because there was a couple of times right in front of us where Lewis Wing sort of broke free when Reading had a throw in. It goes to him and he just puts his foot straight through it, didn't even let it bounce, not aiming at anyone, just lumped it long. And I just think, I don't know, he just didn't have a good game at all. And I think, as per your tweet as well, like that, all of that put together just means Reading aren't great, and we need him coming at his best to really get the team going, both going forward and defensively, because it was very disjointed and not much to take away that's positive at all. Don Ballard, I guess we have to talk about him, right? Because without him, we might have had a fighting chance, but scored 3 goals. I think he scored another 2 goals that were disallowed.
Yeah.
Ran through on goal and hit the post in a chance which he should have scored. XG would have been 0.7 plus. Completely destroyed us, really, didn't he?
I mean, if it wasn't for the miss and the 2 offsides, they would have had 6 goals against Reading. So, and he would have had a double hat trick. So, yeah, no. And it kind of, it's sad just because he's a former he's a former Saints player and he's a former Reading player. So it makes it even worse is the fact that Reading have a file on him. They know how he plays. They understand how he plays and the way he maneuvers, the way he plays in the box and the runs he makes. And still, he just walked past that defense every single time. That 3rd goal, every time I watch it back, I don't know how Dorset didn't stop him. I don't even know if you've seen the touch. It was literally the deftest of touch. He just kicked it to the side. Dorset fell over, ran around him, shot. It was just, I don't really understand how Ballard was allowed that much time on the ball, that much space on the ball, why they weren't pressing him as much as they should have. It's just, yeah, in general, he had an excellent game. I don't know whether he had an excellent game because he wanted to prove a point against his former side or what it was, but yeah, he had a great game. And yeah, tactically, I don't know what Reading were thinking with him. And I don't know if this kind of shows that we're missing Derek Williams very much. Now, obviously, Finley Burns has been doing a great job the last few games, but I think I said it earlier after the game as well. I was like, he's a great defender. He can't start every game. He's not experienced enough to start every game. We need someone that knows the league, knows what it brings, and has a bit more muscle to them. And Derek Williams has that. He's a proper no-nonsense defender, proper strong, burly guy. Whereas Finley Burns, yeah, he's strong. He's got the muscle and whatnot, but he's quite, he can get pushed off the ball quite easily. So don't really know what was going on there. Paudy had a decent game, I think. I just think all around everyone was not great. And Don Ballard capitalized on, that kind of mistake and tactical mismatch, really. So,
yeah, I think, again, not to be too dramatic, but I think we have to question the tactics because, yes, Don Ballard is young, but as you say, we've got files on him. He's the league's top scorer. How we've played against him in the way we did is ridiculous. But I've got to say again, he had an awesome game. He beat Paudy in the air, which not many people do for the second goal. I mean, ridiculous to let him shoot from where we did for the first one. But again, I think that was just a lack of pace from our defence. And then, yeah, I mean, Dorset just had an absolute nightmare with the third one, didn't he? Let's be honest.
That was, he's not going to want to watch that back. That was
no. But I think, again, not to be too harsh on Dorset, but I do think the performance generally has really hammered home what Reading need to do in this January transfer window to improve. And it is to get fullbacks because neither Yeardom or Dorset offered anything going forward. Leyton Orient. And then when you think about the defensive effort, it wasn't great either. I'm assuming you agree that we need fullbacks in.
I think we need a left fullback in. I think Yeardom is doing a job. I think a lot of his performances get overlooked when you compare when Kelvin Abrefa was there and what Andy's doing. They're two completely different profiles, and Andy's been kind of very consistent defensively, more confident on the ball, and he can take it forward. He plays majority of the time he plays as wing back, kind of like what we mentioned in the last podcast. It's like they play this lopsided formation where Andy Yeardom can run forward. They then turn into a back three with Dorset there because he can't move forward. But then when it comes to going forward, they're kind of stuck because they have that fifth man helping them on the midfield, but then they're lacking on the left side because they've only got Daniel Chirawa, and then Kamari Doyle kind of comes in to help on that side. I definitely think it's more of a left left-sided issue rather than a right-sided issue. I think we're more successful on the right than we are on the left, especially when Randall Williams is in the squad. Unfortunately, he's injured. But I think we do have a lot of success on the right, or even more so centrally, because that's where I think the majority of our goals have come from the middle rather than the two wings. Unless there's like a moment of magic, like when Kelvin scored that goal against Luton, it was on the left. But the majority of the time, our attack goes through the right, or when it's on the counter through Daniel on the left. So yeah, they really need to strengthen that left side to make it a bit more balanced in the attack so that they can have options left, middle, and right rather than just focusing on two different areas. Because if I can pick up on that and other reporters can pick up on that, other teams and other clubs can pick up on that, and they could just overload a side, which is exactly what they did. I was speaking to like some Leyton Orient fans and club people after the game, and they said that the part of the plan was to isolate Dorset, and it worked because he wasn't able to do much. They kept on putting the pressure on him. They kept on pushing him. They kept on getting past him as well. And yeah, we saw it. Like they had a great game. Sean Clare on that right back. What a game he had, and also the left back Archibald. What a game he had. I think he's one of their best players on the day. So it kind of shows the importance of having a strong left back that can offer offense and defense at the same time. And we lack that. We have a good right back. We have a good centre back pairing. And yeah, Dorset originally is a centre back, and he should be playing as a centre back, potentially in a back three. I think that makes more sense. But as a fullback or a wing back, it doesn't work. And Reading need to bring in someone in that position and really be looking to push that, because there's only a week and a bit left in the transfer markets. They really need to be pushing for it.
Yeah, I think Reading need to do something, don't they? But I feel like the deals usually come at the back end of the window, so I'm not giving up too much hope just yet. But yeah, fingers crossed we see a left back come in relatively soon. We did see Will Keane very briefly.
Yeah.
Not really too much for me to say, to be honest. Because I don't think we saw enough of him. But I mean, good that he got some minutes and looks to be ready to play if called upon. I imagine he definitely will be in the coming weeks.
It was good to see Paddy Lane back as well. I think he did came in at the end, but it was good to see him back on the field in general, and I think he'll be a good addition to the squad.
Yeah, I agree. One positive thing to say on Paddy Lane, because I'm struggling for them in this episode. I think the Reading kits look so much better in long sleeve.
Yeah, they do look nice.
I actually quite like that. Because I'm not a massive fan of the current home kit, but in long sleeve it looks a lot better. But yeah, no, you're right. Bringing him back will definitely help, particularly as well with Williams now injured. It feels like we're kind of on a conveyor belt of injuries. So anyone coming back will massively help, I think.
Yeah.
But speaking of positives, let's go through the one big positive of the game. Is that Reading strung together a very lovely passage of play, of which, as he always does, Jack Marriott converted, brought the game to 1-1, and I'm thinking maybe that's what we needed to bring us back into it. But let's focus on the goal first, then we can talk about what happened after. It's kind of mad, isn't it? Reading are really good with the ball on the floor.
They're really good with the ball on the floor. What a pass from Doyle! Like what a pass! He cut through that whole defense with a single pass, and Marriott didn't like hesitate. He just struck right through it. I think one of the best goals I've seen like this season. It was beautiful. But that link up is a positive, and I spoke to Richardson about it after the game. That Kamari Doyle Marriott link up, you see it a lot now, and they're starting to figure each other out. And I think they're building this really good partnership between a number 10 and a number 9, and it's working really well. They just need that finishing touch, and obviously that goal proved to be one of those finishing touches, but they need it a bit more, because I think it was right after that goal, right before it, it was after the goal, where Doyle brought it to the box, like lobbed it basically. I think it was a low cross, and it just missed Marriott, and if he had touched it, it would have been in the back of the net. So they're finding each other, and I think that partnership's going to work well moving forward. It's just, yeah, they need to figure it out a bit more, but they're getting there. Them two together are getting there. He had that partnership with Daniel before, and it's still evident between that on the left side. But in general, I think without Marriott, Reading would be in a way worse position than they are right now. He's on fire, and even the way he speaks, his professionalism, the way he carries himself is exactly what Reading needs. And I think having Will Keane in as well will boost his confidence to be like, okay, I don't need to be running 90 minutes. I've got someone to come in if I need to take a rest. Same with Doyle. He'd be like, I won't need to like push myself too much. So yeah, all around that situation is positive. Obviously, the game as a whole was not, but we can take some positives from it, and it's that we can play good on the floor.
Yeah, I think so, and yeah, you mentioned a couple, but it definitely is evident that Marriott is thriving off some of the relationships he has with some of the other players. Like even earlier in the season, recently, him and Lewis Wing were talking about how strong their link-up play is. So that is really good to see, and I love the celebration. It wasn't like massive, but you could see how much it meant to him. You could see how much he enjoyed scoring in front of the Reading away fans. So yeah, hopefully we see many more of those. Aside from the finish and the lovely pass, which are both fantastic, I was really impressed with Paudy showing the fight to quickly get up and play the ball.
True.
Because I've moaned previously this season that Reading have looked a bit lethargic and lacked urgency, particularly when a goal down. But that wasn't the case with Paudy there. So I love to see that.
Yeah.
But one thing I'm really good at is turning a positive into a negative. One shot on target, albeit a goal, is Reading's joint lowest total of shots on target this season. Is that because Lewis Wing couldn't get a shot away, or is there a deeper issue there, do you think?
That's a deeper issue, definitely. I think I kind of highlight that's one of the things I highlighted in that kind of tactical tweet that I kind of took a look at. They weren't making the right passes. Like if in that one situation in the 41st minute when they just got the ball back, or they intercepted the ball, Savage intercepted the ball, passed it to Richie. Richie, instead of passing to Doyle, who had so much space on the left side of the box, goes for Lewis Wing, who's being covered by two defenders. It doesn't make like stuff like that doesn't. I don't understand where the thinking was going there, because you're more likely to get a shot on target or even a goal if you go with the person that has more space.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand what was going there, and I think even Daniel Chirway, he had a few shots from the left side, but he'd be really wild with it. So it would just either go above the bar, to the left, to the right. Like it just wouldn't hit the target. Same with Yiadom, but Yiadom's not really, he doesn't really have a foot on him to shoot. So he's more of a crosser and a passer. And he had a shot and it just went fizzing wide. So I don't think it's down to Wing not taking shots. I just think it's a collective thing where they're not making the right passes and they're not getting the right positions to get proper shots off. So yeah. And again, I think the lack of goals as well, and the lack of shots in general, is just because they're not finding Marriott, because they're not making the right passes, and they're not making, or like finding the runs that he's making, because he's making runs all the time and you can see it. You can see when he wants a ball and they're not giving it to him. And the only person that seems to be able to kind of see him, or the two that be able to see him, are Doyle and Wing. If it's not for them two, he's not getting the ball. So it's a problem. And that's why I think that, there's a lack of shots in that game.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't think I've got much more to add then. Right, we've talked enough rubbish. Actually, before we stopped talking, I thought Matt Ritchie was terrible as well. But let's go on to the questions from X. We've got a couple. They don't seem like they're going to be too positive either, but we'll do our best.
Yeah.
To be fair, we've kind of covered off the first one. Did this feel like a bad day at the office or a deeper issue? Which areas of the pitch were most concerning and why? I mean, we've done the second part of that. I think it's a bad day at the office because we've come off the back of, 4 wins and a draw in the last 5. in a place that we've notoriously struggled. If the issues we saw do continue, then yeah, they are a slight concern. But we've got a bit of a chance to put them right this weekend, and also we might strengthen before then. Who knows? But anything to add for you? Do you think bad day at the office?
No, I think it's a deeper issue. I think we definitely had a good run of form. Reading had a good run of form the last 5 games, but I think the issues we saw at Leyton are stuff we've seen in other games, but it just got exposed a bit more by Leyton, because the problems with the defense have always been there. The problems with Dorset have always been there. The midfield, we saw it against Stockport. They were Savage and Wing were targeted during Stockport, and they couldn't do anything. They couldn't get any shots off. I don't know if you remember that, but they were like really going man to man for both of them until Savage moved forward. And that's what Richardson tried to do again against Leyton Orient, and it didn't work this time. And instead of taking Savage off, I would have taken Wing off and put Liam Fraser on. But he took Savage off and put Will Keane. Was it? Yeah, and then he put Will Keane on. I thought that was a bit kind of reactive rather than like a thought out plan in terms of what he was doing there. Because for me, I think Savage had a better game than Wing. I would have brought Wing back into the midfield and then put Will Keane at the top of that midfield. But yeah, I think it shows that clubs are paying, or different teams are paying attention to Reading's weaknesses that they've noticed in the last 5 games. Because yeah, we played well. We have played some really good football. I think Plymouth, we played decently well. I think we took advantage of a situation, and those 3 goals that came in the matter of 6 minutes were kind of like a flash in the pan. Like they did come from like counterattacks and like quick movements and stuff like that. And then I think Luton, we played well, but we got lucky. I think we played really well, but we got lucky to go from, what was it? I think we were 1-0 up, then it was 1-1, 2-2, 2-1, 2-2, then 3-2, right? So I feel like if the game went on just a tad longer, I think Luton would have got back into it. I know I'm shooting myself in the foot by saying this, but like it's just stuff I've noticed. And I think it's been exposed by Leyton. I think the one game where the 2 games where we really, really played well were Burton and Stockport. I think we really played well in those 2 games. But if you watch the Peterborough game back, we could have lost by so many goals. It was ridiculous. They put on a defensive, they were really resilient. But the fact that Peterborough could open up Reading the way they did, I don't know if you remember the last 10 minutes. I think they had like 6 shots in the last 10 minutes. Yeah. They could have all gone in if it wasn't for like Pereira heroics or like Dorset jumping in to clear the ball. This is stuff that's been there for a while that needs sorting, and it's been fully exposed by Leyton. So I don't think it's just a one-off. I think it's something that is deep-rooted and needs to be changed. And I think Richardson's kind of seen that and he's noticed that. I think we're going to see some change in that regard. So I don't think it's just a one-off. I think it's deeper rooted issue.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you've actually managed to answer the second question as well, which is quite impressive without knowing what it was. But there was a third one, and it was, how do we counteract high press? It seems very pointless launching long balls to Jack Marriott. Well, yes, I very much agree with that. I think Leyton Orient was the 3rd most long balls we played. It was 84. I haven't looked at success rate, but it can't have been many. And yeah, obviously that was one of the worst games we've played this season. I just don't think it works. But for me, it comes back down to the fullbacks issue. I think, like Dorset particularly, just not comfortable going forward, and it just disjoints it, and it means that the back 4 are more often than not just lumping it long, or the back 5 even just lumping it long. If we had a bit more of a ball playing left back that could maybe take the ball forward and release Chihuahua a bit more and things like that, we might be able to get around it. But currently we do struggle and we revert to long balls more often than not.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts?
I agree. Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and I think all of them, or at least the midfield and the fullbacks, need to learn how to deal with pressure better. Because as soon as they feel a tad bit of pressure, they launch it. That's their go-to. It's like as soon as the player runs towards them, like, all right, I need to launch this to whoever's up front. Pordy does it so much. Like as soon as he's under pressure, he boots it, and then you lose the ball, and then they can launch an attack. So I feel like they just need to learn to deal with high presses a bit more better. It's really hard to counteract a high press, and I feel like that's just across football. It's really hard to deal with pressure like that, especially if you're not comfortable on the ball, which Dorset isn't. Dorset is not comfortable on the ball. I don't think Pordy's comfortable on the ball. Finley seems to be decent. He can dribble. He's like quite comfortable. Lewis Wing should be comfortable on the ball, and he does do runs and drive-ins, and so does Charlie Savage. But I don't know where this like instinct for him to constantly be launching balls forward comes from. I don't know if it comes from Hunt or whoever else is kind of instilled that in them. Maybe Ruben did. I don't know. They've had quite a few managers over the years, so I feel like they need to learn, or not learn, but like I think short passes, short 1-2 passes here and there, take the pressure off you, get the other players moving around so that you're not constantly stuck and being isolated in those positions. Instead of launching the ball and losing it, learn to play under that pressure. And I just haven't seen that from Reading recently, and it's definitely a concern, but I think it's something that could definitely be reversible with a bit more confidence and potentially a new fullback.
Yeah, completely agree. Right, let's put a line through this one. I think we'll come back and chat about the game at the weekend, and with hopefully a bit more positivity and happiness. Thanks very much if you've got this far of listening to us moaning. We appreciate your support, and everyone that listens and watches this. Thanks very much. Please do like, subscribe, and everything else that helps the podcast. We do appreciate it. Thanks again, Rami. As I say, I'll be in a better mood this time next week. All right. Catch you later. Cheers, guys.